Want me to go?
All right. Well, guys, hey, welcome back to another episode. I got John Utter here of Strong Tower Remodel and LBL Home Improvement.
Yeah, check
Uh,
this out.
what's
We got the
that?
new LPL logo up on the
Oh,
map.
that is so nice. I love
So
that.
cool.
Yeah. So John, you're running a pretty unique business model. You got, Strong Tower is like your classic builder. You guys build homes, you build additions. A lot of structural remodels. What was the strategy behind LBL?
Well, yeah, pretty simple, really, to capture more market share. There are a lot of jobs that we just couldn't that we were priced too high.
Okay,
If a classic design build model, and so we wanted to capture those jobs that we were turning away.
right,
So we formulated LBL Home Improvement. Uh, and basically all that is we do jobs that are basically non-structural. So your classic rip and replace kitchen where we're literally just gonna
right,
remove, replace, very minimal design work.
right.
And when I mean design work, we're talking about like, hey, what color do you want this? That sort of thing. We're not getting Joanna Gaines to come in and pick out all the stuff.
Yeah,
So those kind of jobs, decks, screen porches, we've done. My gosh, I think we've done three screen porches this winter already, or this fall already.
hmm,
Um, and then your classic repair. Hey, we got a raccoon in our attic, chewed a hole through the soffit. Can you fix that kind of thing?
sure,
Absolutely, sure.
yeah.
So those are the jobs that LBL is focusing on right now.
And so I'm curious though. You mentioned the design build just kind of priced you out of the market for that. Is that just because the type of project Strong Tower does is it requires a higher skilled labor that just is overkill for these lipstick kind of projects?
I think so. I think so. I think that and um yeah, just the actual price point for a design build for a super, there was a segment of our demographic in Western Kentucky that just, you know, couldn't justify a full design build project.
Right. Interesting. And so where are most of your customers coming from with LBL? Is this a lot of repeat business coming out of Strong Tower? What's
It
it for you
is.
guys?
Yeah, right now it is. Once we get I'm really interested to see once we get our Google My Business, our Google lead services turned on, what we generate from that. But Lane, right now, it's all 100% word of mouth, all 100% spillover from Strong Tower, folks we've done work for in the past.
Hmm.
There's been one or two that have reached out to us via realtor relationships.
Hmm.
So once we turn the Google stuff on, I'm expecting it to get really, really hot. We've only been up and running with LBL since, man, second week of October.
Dang, so this is a brand new company.
Brand new. We're less than 60 days,
Yeah.
and we're doing pretty good. I think. I mean, we're doing. I mean, from hitting the on switch, um, you know, our numbers are probably tracking. We're really close to $80,000 for our first month.
Wow.
And
And what kind
and
of
and
margin though? Because it doesn't matter what you make, it's what you keep.
right, yeah, yeah. Top line means nothing. The minimum job that we've sold right now has been at 35%, and that's because we're just playing with numbers.
Hmm.
So we're ranging from 35 to 55 on our jobs right
Yeah.
now.
So call
There's
me.
there's a couple there's a couple we did really, really well on, and a
Mhm.
couple that,
You got
oh crap,
smacked.
we missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and I will also say, we've got Jacob running LBL Homes as he's my logistics manager for Strong Tower, but
Uh-huh.
he's also, I don't know, can we call him a general manager for LBL?
I mean,
Um,
does he have profit and loss responsibility? Can he solve
yeah,
problems without your
yes,
say so? Yeah,
yes,
I'd call him a general
yes.
manager.
So he's got a limit. where if he crosses this threshold, then he calls me, you
Right.
know. So, so his KPI is tied to, he's got a base through Strong Tower, his base salary, and he's got a KPI through LBL Homes where we tie everything to a gross profit percentage. So he's compensated
That's
that
awesome.
way. So he's highly motivated
So
right now.
he's thinking like a business owner.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
how old is Jacob?
He's 22.
22?
He's
That is
22.
wild.
So he's our version of Peter. Um,
Oh, Peter, yeah, Peter's the
so
man.
he's yeah. So
So,
anyway,
so talking
no,
about this
we're
logistics manager position you mentioned, what does that do for you in Strong Tower?
so right now it's a little light on the workload, which is
Right.
okay.
Yeah, fourth
Uh
quarter.
Fourth quarter, exactly. So he's spending more time with LBO Homes than he is with Strong Tower. But when we're up and really, really rolling, he's
Mm-hmm.
in charge of material ordering,
Okay.
material procurement. He is not in charge of putting material lists together, though.
Oh,
That's not his gig. That's he's going to coordinate with who's ever in the field.
right,
He's going to coordinate with if we use an estimator, me. He's going to, order materials based off my list or somebody out in the field.
right.
But he's in charge of ordering all that stuff and communicating that schedule with
Interesting.
me and the field.
How much time does that save you having this logistics manager?
You know, uh, I haven't put a pencil to it. I would say, probably, 5 to 10 hours a week,
Dang,
maybe.
dang.
Probably low, probably closer to five. But it's all phone call stuff, It's all, hey, get this here. Hey, check on this price for me real quick. That sort of thing.
Hmm.
Um, so it's just a lot of busy work that I don't have to do anymore.
Right. So that he's saving you in those 5 hours. What's that allowing you to do for Strong Tower?
Oh man. So my new role is really I need to concentrate on sales lane. So
Hmm.
that really, really helps me with sales. I still wear the sales hat, the PM hat, the PD hat. Um,
A lot.
I'm sure there's still more I'm missing there, but it allows me to focus on selling the job, homeowner relations, developing relationships with real estate agents, designers, etc. And the one that I love the most is new business development. So, we get to work on that a little bit too. Different avenues for Strong Tower and different areas to expand.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't mean to get off topic, but I think you've set up a relationship with probably the most preeminent log home timber frame home designer in the country.
I think so. I
Yeah,
think so. It was totally by, I don't know, I don't want to say by accident.
yeah,
But we worked with this fella before. We do, we're out here on the lakes, so the rustic look is kind of the thing. And we would just buy heavy timbers from him every now and then to do a front porch or whatever.
sure.
And it was just by developing that relationship with this supplier that at one point in time he pulled me into his office and said, "Hey, we white label a bunch of products for this particular log and timber home company, and we're spinning off and making our own private label. Would you be our guy? Would you be our contractor?"
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
no brainer.
So now we're gonna try to expand our region.
Sure,
Um, well, yeah,
sure,
that's what I'm really fired up about that. But the whole plan is to keep everything in Western Kentucky, Western Tennessee up and going and functional and profitable enough where I can kind of slide over to different parts of the country and develop new relationships and develop new markets. So,
sure, sure, sure. So, getting back to Mr. Jacob,
yeah.
and he's saving you about 5 hours a week doing your administrative stuff.
Yeah.
What how much time do you invest into LBL, or is that primarily just Jacob's thing?
I'll be honest with you. That's really Jacob's thing.
Yeah,
Jacob has a construction management degree, but
sure.
he'll be the first one to tell you that really means nothing. Um,
Right. Well, I mean, to be fair, to be a decent project manager, you need like 8 years of field experience.
and that's absolutely right. That's 100% right. So when I get a call from Jacob regarding LBL, it's more, and it's not very often. It's more or less a design question or an estimating question. Um, we're really getting ready to bring our first cohort of LBL technicians, LBL field managers. We're actually interviewing two of them this week.
Oh,
Um, we ran an ad and had 87 respondents.
right.
Um, invited 10. Six showed up for the self-assessment, and we're interviewing two for the final.
That's awesome.
And we might just hire both of them. But that being said, right now we're using a former employee turned sub um, for the home improvement division. So when Jacob calls me, it's more or less to verify materials, a design question, or yeah, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But other than that, he's once the material list is developed, he's got the preferred vendor list. He contacts them for pricing. He assembles the he's in charge of homeowner communication regarding
Okay.
LBL and selling the job.
Right.
Uh,
So
yeah,
you're
he's
so you're just maybe reviewing a material list. That maybe,
right, right,
maybe.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
And if you don't mind me asking, what's young Mr. Jacobs' base pay?
Sure, his base is 60,000 a year,
Okay. And
and
his
so
performance incentives?
five point he'll get 5 points, 5% of every contract sold above a minimum gross profit percentage.
Okay. So I'm just trying to I'm trying to point out to the guys the genius of what you've just pulled off, because essentially you have this asset, which is the goodwill of Strong Tower, with a ton of money being left on the table because you just can't get to it. And
Yep,
you've unlocked that with a $65,000 a year employee that not only handles that complete division, but also takes 5 hours a week off of your plate on the big business, which has allowed you to go set up these strategic relationships that are going to bring millions of referral, or have brought in at least 1 million by my count of referral relationship in for the and and so if you really want to break it down, yeah, on that 80,000 he did in sales in his first month, that was all done above the line. So he got paid, 60,000. So $5,000 is his base salary, plus he picked up 5% of 80, another 4 grand. So a 22-year-old kid got paid 9 grand. But you, out of that 9 grand, you netted 31,000, and you picked up another 5 hours a week. That's a genius trade there, sir.
so it's kind of fun to hear you talk about it because I get so up close to it. I don't break it down like that. It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
That's
It's
insane. That's such a good move.
and I'll tell you, I had um the whole strong tower thing. I had not been nailing down remodels and new homes like I should have been coming into the fourth quarter. So I'm so grateful that we've got the handyman thing up and running for cash flow right now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I look at it this way, John. You can only focus on one thing at a time. If you have more than one priority, you don't have priorities. You have a to-do list.
that's exactly right.
And so your it sounds to me like your priority in third quarter was getting LBL stood up, because that didn't just magically generate on its own. You spent like 3 months just putting the systems together, getting Jacob trained, getting the marketing stood up, getting the word put out. I mean, of course, your foot was taken off the gas on Strong Tower a little bit, but you know what? It's fourth quarter anyway. So
Right,
what risk is? I mean, if you're going to take a risk like you did, I would rather you do it when you did it in the third quarter because the impact is like Q4 is usually crickets anyway.
right.
Yeah.
Yep. So now
So I
next
wouldn't be.
week,
What's
yeah,
that?
I've got three remodels to look at next week. So,
Wild.
going into going into, the first of the year, we'll kick them off.
And where'd those remodels come from?
Two of them are from a BNI relationship.
Okay.
The third is a revived design produced pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
It was it was a design from 2019, and she hit the brakes and never heard from her
Does she
again
does
for
she
like
know
three.
does she know costs have gone up like 50% since 2019?
I'm telling you, it's going to be incredible to see what she's got cooked up. But we're going to go talk with her,
All
you know.
right.
So yeah, I mean, she likes what we do. She's seen our stuff and calls up out of the blue. Hey, I think I'm ready now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. So you're a pretty avid networker. What are you focusing on to support Strong Tower next year? What specifically, who are you trying to meet?
So that's a really, really good question. Um, more realtors, more
Hmm.
realtors, um, more realtors. And
Yeah.
then we've got two realtors right now, actually three. We developed a third realtor relationship through BNI that's proved to be really good. But we had two, um, man, that those guys just they call us for everything. So we like maintaining. Once we have these guys in our fold, it's just a matter of calling them up every now and then,
Sure.
making sure everything's good. Um, I want to do more work with designers for sure. And I've got a couple that we're working with. One of them, they were also a B&I lead.
Mhm.
We're probably going to not only do major remodels for them, but they're also going to kick a bunch of stuff to LBL homes.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Now they want to develop some kind of
Yeah.
and we got to, with
I get it.
LBL,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So we've got to kick that around a little bit where it's beneficial for both of us. And I think it can be. I just got to come to the right terms with that.
Those designers typically make most of their money selling cabinets.
Exactly.
So if we what I would I and here's the thing, and the way you run your handyman, our bids are only labor and installation material.
That's correct.
So those selection materials, that's between the designer and the homeowner. It's like, what do we care? It's like, yeah, sell your
Yeah.
cabinets.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other designer, I'm really excited to start working with her. And I think I've got a project lined up for her after the first of the year,
There you go for a
um,
designer.
for a designer.
Is this
Yeah.
that 2019 job or where'd that lead come from?
No, this one is where did this one come from? I don't remember. It was a referral from a realtor.
Oh,
Uh, and so it was when we were doing designer realtor blitzes last winter.
mm-hmm.
Um, Met with her, and she's got a massive Instagram following, and so
Oh.
that I kind of leveraged that a little bit.
Oh, that's when we had Kaylee going through Instagram, DMing realtors in your area that had big followings.
I think that might be right. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
So
Okay.
that came from that one, and we've just never been able to line up on a job, and I think I've got one for her now.
Okay.
Um, she doesn't have a storefront. She doesn't have, you know, uh, that sort of thing. but she does a really good job and she's super duper attentive to detail and schedule and process. And when we presented her our design SOP, it was like done. It was a wrap. Totally
Wow.
loved it. Totally
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That design SOP, how many steps are in that? 58, I think, last time I looked at
man, there's a whole bunch. I can't count that high.
it. Hey, but like I don't mean this what I'm about to ask, this is not meant to be disrespectful towards any architects or designers, but John, have you ran into a single one of them that could pass our as built or construction document standard the first go?
Do you remember last fall we got a some inquiry from some designers in Tennessee doing a big job up here, and I sent you their concept design, and you're like, "Who drew this? Your fourth grader?"
Yeah, I
And
remember
that's what it
that.
was, and
Yeah.
it was just like, "Holy moly,
Yeah.
how am I supposed to work with this?"
No.
So, um, and no, and that's not meant to belittle them at all. It's really not,
They don't know
but
what we need to actually build something.
that's correct. So that's part of our job is to not, I mean, in some regard, we got to educate these designers too. Like, hey, here's what we need
Yeah.
to make your job look amazing,
That's right.
you know,
That's right.
because we want them to succeed. We really do.
Yep.
Uh, because it's a circular thing, they can bring business to us. Folks, homeowners look at the job a lot different than we do. They are way ahead of us as far as how they're going to use this space, how they're going to live in this space, what color pillows they got, um, the brand of couches.
It's like, hold up,
Um,
we haven't even figured out the structural beam yet.
exactly, exactly. And I get that. And so I want to tap into that excitement of them looking at what Christmas of 25 is going to look like in their brand new living room.
Yep.
I want to leverage that excitement. And if I can do that with a designer, um, yeah, let's go.
So that brings up another question. You're a master at this, but what's your strategy when you're dealing with an outside designer who isn't meeting our standard, but they have a ton of potential referral flow? How do you work with that person without stepping on their toes to make sure that you get the product you need?
Yeah, I would not call me a master at that. But
You're better than me.
so the obvious thing is to take their plan,
Mm-hmm.
take their drawing, and do a very diplomatic red line
Mm-hmm.
of their plan and just say, hey, here's what we, your designs are incredible. Um, they are. Your designs are just amazing. We want to work with you in the worst way possible. But here's what we need to
Yep.
make this flow, to really make this flow. And sometimes, and that's a hard sell sometimes because our business model is 180 degrees different from everybody else's business model around here.
Yes.
Everybody else around here is a cost plus builder,
Ah, clowns.
a time and material builder. And when you throw our firm fixed price thing, it like a light bulb does go off, but they don't understand how it works.
Yeah.
And so um so to answer your question,
Yeah.
yeah, a very diplomatic red line, just telling them that, hey, here's what we need from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you show
So
them how you're going to protect them and protect their time and protect their bottom line and how they can probably make more money.
that's interesting. How do they make more money?
Well, Lane, you know, we ask, like we sell a design retainer
Yeah.
instead of uh, doing it like, some of our designers just work by the hour. So to protect that, we ask them what their hourly rate is going to be. We protect that hourly rate for them by selling a design retainer to the homeowner to end the multiple revisions. So they're still going to get paid for every revision, but we've got a retainer now instead of selling a lump sum design agreement. When we treat it like a retainer, when we start bumping up towards the upper limit, we
Hmm.
let the homeowner know, like, hey, we're able to uh facilitate these changes you're looking at, but it's an extra cost. You actually tell them that up front.
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
don't don't surprise them. But
We don't
it's
like surprises.
yeah, no, surprises are only good on birthdays.
Yeah,
Um, but it protects the designer and their time, because and they're not doing endless changes. Um, so
sure, sure. With the designers, I don't know about you. I a lot of them at first are really, really hesitant to do an hourly basis with us. I've My workaround has been simply to just guarantee them their minimum fee on a project by project basis, and then ask them to give me a billable rate so that we burn down that fee like a retainer, which is guaranteed. And
yep,
then once that's burned up, we go get more money from the homeowner. Is that kind of what the system you're running?
that was what I was trying to say. Yeah,
Oh,
that's exactly what I was trying to say. Yeah,
no,
we
I get
that's
that.
that's
Yeah,
Um, I met with the architect last Monday on a possible upcoming project, had coffee with him, and we talked about that.
yeah,
Like here's what the homeowner's thinking. Um, and we came to an agreement, like, yeah, here's his billable rate of 125 an hour.
right.
Uh, and I said, how many hours do you think it's going to take you to draw this? You don't have to be exact, but how many hours do you think it's going to take? And from there, I was able to figure out to draw a 3,600 square foot garage with a
Hmm.
basement and a apartment above it. He needs about $6,000.
Yeah,
So, okay, cool.
cool.
Let's go.
Yeah, yeah, that's smart. So and so it's I love what you're doing there, because most contractors, I feel, either A, decide that designers and architects are not for them, and then sentence themselves to having to compete against Chuck in the truck for off the books, or I'm sorry, unpermitted basements, kitchens, and baths. That
Yeah.
can't make a living there.
No.
um and or on the other end of the spectrum, you got the remodeler's advantage cult that thinks to be design build you have to hire a designer, which, and then they add like 80-90 grand of overhead, which and then and the moment you have that designer in house, what do you think happens to the likelihood of referrals from outside designers and architects?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Plummets.
we're able to pull from multiple sources,
Yeah. So here you are, the puppet master, fixing everybody's business around you, and they're all feeding you referrals.
right, exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to develop more architect relationships,
Yeah,
you
you
know.
should.
I really do.
Maybe go down to Nashville, because you're in a lake community where people like commute. So, I mean, what about maybe taking the show on the road and doing Zoom meetings like this with architects in Nashville and Chicago, where a lot of the people come to your neck of the woods to vacation or own
Man,
vacation houses?
yeah, and that's the genius of being an architect, right? You don't have to live there to
No,
draw the thing, you know.
that's right.
Just find the folks that have the vision
Hmm.
of the style of house that your homeowner wants,
Yep,
and plug in with them. Yeah, we can do that.
that's awesome. So
We can do that.
what's your plan for growing Strong Tower next year?
Oh man, can
Designer
we
and
talk
real
about it?
yeah, designer and realtor relationships. What else are we doing?
Man, can we talk about
Yeah.
the secret one? Can
Yeah,
we?
fine. Yeah, that's all right. Go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
This one I'm probably too excited about. I really am. Um, and it's gonna be, there's still a lot of moving parts. So we're in proof of concept mode right now, right?
Yep. Yep.
So we are going to, I'm just gonna say it like we are gonna do this, Lane, because
Yeah.
we're gonna do it. we're gonna stand up a timber frame company somewhere in the Smoky Mountains, and
Ooh,
we're gonna service East Tennessee, North Georgia,
Western North Carolina,
and Western North Carolina.
right where the
Um,
storm hit, right where the
where
storm
the
hit.
where the storm hits.
Uh-huh.
Now, we're not going to be the vulture contractor that sweeps in and promises pie in the sky and clean your. No, no, we're not going to be that kind of guy. We're looking to build the upper end timber frame stuff.
Like 2 million
But
plus.
yeah, yeah. But wherever we make our footprint, we want to be part of that community. We're not going to be the fly by night guys.
No. So
Um,
you setting up an office?
eventually,
Okay.
Eventually. So we're developing relationships right now, like with that timber frame supplier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he will supply all of our timber frames.
Got it.
We're working with a super bougie designer, um, and he can do all the interior stuff, right down to providing the finished carpenters, I think.
Right, right,
So
right.
that's gonna be super cool. I want to talk to some other RC guys that might live over that way to help us vet some contractors. And I mean, I can,
Yeah.
if you got to edit that out, cool.
No, no, it's totally cool. I've seen this happen in the legal space. Like my next door neighbor is a very wealthy lawyer who's not been in a courtroom in 15 years. Who all he does is he leverages the internet to generate leads and then refers those cases to a lawyer. And lawyers are just like general contractors, are licensed by the state, and so then he just shares in whatever is made off that case.
Right,
I mean, it makes a whole lot of sense for you to partner with other general contractors for because they already have the infrastructure on the ground.
right,
And so you got the design relationship, you got the supplier relationships, you're bringing the business to the table, and the client, and then they bring the subs and the project management. That's a beautiful arrangement.
right. And so we're going to use the evergreen backlog funnel
Mm-hmm.
to generate all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so by the time the folks get done with consuming all the content, they
Mm-hmm.
already know us. They already know our process. They're a 95% vetted client,
Yeah.
probably ready to sign a design agreement.
We need to shoot those videos, sir, for the evergreen backlog.
Agreed.
What do you what,
Agreed. And
maybe early January we head back up
sounds good.
into those mountains when there's a little dusting of snow on the ground to shoot these
Oh
videos
man,
as a backdrop.
I was just there this weekend. We were doing some hurricane relief work, and um it's still an absolutely gorgeous area. Oh my gosh. It's beautiful. It's ridiculous. A lot of devastation, but it's still super beautiful. But
Okay.
uh but yeah, once we get a couple of these design agreements sold, a couple contracts sold,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be the PM PD for a while.
Yeah, just get it going.
Just get it going. And then once we
So
get a couple under our belt, then we can really talk about hiring somebody to
yeah,
set
in a
set over there.
worst case scenario though, let's say you're committed, your week is committed. Let's say in a scenario you have a full week back east in the mountains,
Yep.
and who is going to look after Strong Tower when you're not in the office?
Back
Who's get
home.
Yeah.
That I have, well, first of all, I've already done it to this kid. You
Ah,
know, I went on vacation right when he started for 2 weeks, and he ran it, and he ran it. There's no doubt in my mind he can run it. So,
well, for the guys listening back home, they're all probably thinking, "Great, we can't clone Jacob." Is it where would you ascribe this to? The fact that you got Jacob, or the fact that Jacob was willing to run your systems?
he's a slave to process, man.
Okay.
He's that kind of guy.
So what enabled you to take off to Europe? Because I saw those pictures from Norway. Like you just took off for 2 weeks. You had builds going. Like, how
Yep,
did you not go crazy?
I didn't. I went nuts, you know, but Um, but it was more important to spend time with my daughter than, I'm
Sure.
not getting that time
Oh,
back.
okay,
So
okay. How did you not lose your ass on those jobs, even though you had clearly had a bunch of anxiety?
yeah. So I had really I got the best subs in the world, man.
Hmm.
Um, I I've worked with these guys forever, and
Were you
he just
getting
lines stuff out.
were you getting like daily reporting? I mean, how were you able to?
Oh,
Because
like
the subs don't manage themselves. And Jacob,
no,
like, no offense to Jacob if he's listening right now, he doesn't have the
he is
experience yet to run those guys. But like,
no.
how did that not turn into a burning dumpster fire?
So it wasn't a daily check-in, but we checked
Okay,
in probably every other day. And man, we use job tread. So I could just look at the daily log. So I don't have to actually physically
yeah.
talk to somebody. I could just look at the daily log because we're
So
filling out we're doing that's what we wanted, right? I mean, we wanted
yeah,
the date track everything. And
so
so if there was a problem, and there was a problem, there was a
yeah,
problem with some windows for
uh-huh.
the hunt
How'd you solve it
and
from Norway?
from Norway. I took care of it. I got on the phone with the vendor and I took care of it.
Right. But
But it
who detected the problem?
actually our vendor did,
Okay.
so the vendor reached out and we just solved it over the phone. So
So, John, most contractors, everybody talks about daily logs, but most of the logs I've ever read are not very useful.
sure.
What kind of information do you want from your project manager in the log?
Super, super simple. What did you do?
Uh-huh.
How much got done? You got
Right?
to quantify it. Don't just tell me, hey, we laid the subfloor today. Tell me how much area you got done. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I already know. I mean, if you tell me you got all the subfloor laid, I already know how much all the subfloor is, though. But you tell me. Tell me how much you got done. If we started running siding, how much siding did you run?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that sort of thing. I want to know what you did and how much you did.
Okay. And yeah, like if how about problems? Like
Yeah.
yeah.
So if there's a problem, how did you solve it?
Oh, I like that how you phrase that. How did you solve it?
Yes. Yeah.
Not what should I do?
Right. Right. And granted, there's gonna be some times where we run into those problems like, oh crap, what do we do? I get
Right.
it. I totally
Yeah.
get it. But uh
So
if
John,
you don't
you mentioned job tread though, and I don't mean to
yeah,
cut you off. Like job
no.
tread, amazing software, but
Yep.
most of the guys that know how to build that are still swinging hammers are over the age of 55, and
Yeah.
like showing them a keyboard is like
Yeah.
asking them to do calculus.
Okay, so we had that problem too.
Right.
So that's where Jacob comes into play again. He's not
Mm-hmm.
only our logistics manager, he's our tech guru.
Huh.
I mean, he's grown up with a phone in his hand, right?
Right.
Um, so what we would do, how we overcame that problem, is, you know, write down your daily log in your notebook. If you're that
Right.
kind of guy,
Right.
take a picture of it,
Right.
send it to Jacob. Jacob will do the data entry.
Okay.
You know, it's that simple. If if your 58-year-old lead man who's got hammers older than your LM
Yeah.
can figure out the weather forecast on the phone and tell you that there's a thunderstorm 13 minutes away from your job location and we need to pack up tools,
He can
he
use job tread.
can use job track. He just doesn't want to.
Right. Right.
So,
So
and
then
then
you create
the caveat to
accountability.
that, yeah, yeah, the caveat, the thing about that is at some point when do you pull the trigger and be like, all right, you you know, we can
Yeah.
enter this crap for you, but you really need to step it up and do
That's
it
not
yourself.
scalable. No. Yeah.
So it's not scalable. So at some point, you're either gonna A, do it for the guy or just
Hmm.
cut him. He's got to step up a little bit.
Yeah. Like in Seattle, Chloe, our logistics manager, she's the one that actually does the job logs. And so she meets with her PMs every day who are all old enough to be her father
Right.
and asks, what did you accomplish today? What problems did you face? What is your suggested solution? And what's
Right.
so interesting is by her doing those logs, it's accelerating her construction knowledge and speeding up the process to turn her into a PM.
Right. Right.
And at the same time, it enables Shrek to be a useful project manager because we don't do business by fax machine anymore.
Correct. Yeah. 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 Essentially, Jacob is becoming a project manager on the job,
Mm-hmm.
on, just by being around it and being around, the guys, being around the
It's
subs,
so interesting when you look at commercial. I feel like all our problems in residential can be solved looking at how the commercial guys do it.
Sure.
Because your guy on the ground that what us remodelers and design builders call a project manager in commercial is really a superintendent, right? He's the one that's driving. He's driving schedule. He's driving production. He's driving quality. And then you got the educated kid with the technology who is managing communication and managing budgets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
At which in
Yeah.
commercial they call that guy the project manager. So your
Right.
logistics manager is really a project manager, and your
Well, and,
project
and
manager is really a superintendent
right. Well, and if you take it back to,
or a lead
man,
carpenter.
the way I learned the trade
Yeah,
was I was an overeducated laborer,
right.
and I carried two by fours for a crew, and when I got all the two by fours laid where they were supposed to be, they're like, "All right, kid, come over here. Let's show you how to put this wall together," that sort of thing. We're essentially doing the same thing with Jacob.
Yep.
When he gets all his stuff caught up, he's able to actually hang out with the subs or the lead man or
Right.
whoever's on the job that day, and they'll tell him. I
Yeah.
mean, believe me, they'll tell him, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's how you learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I, the more you were talking about Jacob, I couldn't help but start thinking about your son Sam, the
Yeah,
lineman,
man.
who is a fantastic schmoozer. Yeah, I mean, uh,
He is.
does he do a lot of work in East Tennessee, Western North Carolina?
Right now, he's all up in the Louisville area, stringing
Damn,
high line up there.
damn.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that would have been so convenient to be like, hey, I'm gonna bonus you to go meet these realtors who are about your age and go meet these designers who are about your age because you're a 22-year-old young man. uh,
Yeah, give him the company card and say, go. Yeah,
Go buy
no, that's a
drinks.
bad idea.
A
That's a bad move.
terrible idea. Never mind.
That's an absolutely horrible idea. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying,
No,
Sam.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we've actually talked to Sam about because he's back here on Friday mornings.
Sure.
And so we've talked to him about developing those realtor relationships, the designer relationships, the home inspector relationships,
Yeah.
um, and comping him per appointment set. And then his KPI would be, per appointment set. And then some kind of compensation if the lead he brought us, if we were able to sell the job,
Maybe
be like
one,
residual,
yeah,
be like a
one, two
residual
points.
income. Exactly. Be
Yeah.
like a residual income for him. So if he brought Realtor X to us and Realtor X brought us a remodel, he'd get comped on that. And if they brought another remodel or a new home to us, he'd get comped on that because he's going to maintain those relationships too. He's gonna
Brilliant.
he's gonna retain and maintain. That's important. Retain and maintain a bench um, of 20 players. So he's going to build his bench. So it's going to take him a while because he can only meet them on Fridays for a while. He's going to build his bench and then maintain that bench and then figure out how to retain that bench through really cool programs that we got going on, like VIP realtor programs, the Castle program through the handyman business.
Hmm.
Um, and then whatever they bring to us and I'm able to sell, actually turn into dollars, he gets points off of that.
Brilliant. I what I would do though is take a look at your budget next year.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I set my marketing budget at 2% of revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Most guru nerds will say 5 to 10 points, and that's just because they've never actually ran one of these companies before. That's
Hmm.
your profit margin.
Hmm.
So 2, maybe 3 points max. And then what I would
Hmm.
do is chop that number in half, and then I'd make that Sam's residual. That way, if business comes from Sam, you're making a little extra money for you're recouping money for his for what you shelled out for him to go run appointments that didn't bring you money. Does that make sense?
That sounds really cool. Actually,
Yeah,
yeah, actually.
that's what I would
Another
do.
thing we thought about is like we're on one of our relationships. He's actually the oh gosh, he's the head of the construction management department at our local university.
Right.
Like tapping into that program a little bit
Genius.
and intern kids
Yeah.
and use them to run coffee appointments with those people. I don't know. That's just a
Ooh.
thought.
Yeah, the more people that know you, the better it's going to be. But
Yep.
yeah, let's definitely get Sam moonlighting for you, meeting realtors and designers, architects, engineers, mortgage loan officers.
We joke that he's a schmoozer, but he's really a like the kid can he's a professional talker.
He's a
He's
hunter.
he's really he is. He's really good. He's really
uh,
good at what he does.
oh
So,
man, I'm excited to see what you do there.
yeah.
Let's speaking of hunting, let's talk turkey here.
Let's do it.
2023, where were you? What's been your growth journey from when you made all these
Oh.
changes to where you are now?
So I discovered your stuff early on in 23 through the recommendation of another guy and
Mm-hmm.
started consuming your content, joined your boot camp stuff like in June of 23,
Mm-hmm.
was completely overwhelmed and like I had no idea what was going on. But there was just a sense of urgency. We were busy, but we weren't profitable at all. Um,
Right.
I, I've been through other coaching programs, and I'm not going to knock those guys because they taught the principles they taught are sound also.
Sure.
It's just a mindset thing. I decided to actually apply what I was learning,
Uh-huh.
and nothing works unless you do it.
Right.
Um, you can read whatever you want, you can watch whatever you want, but if you don't apply things, and so I think it was just the constant, um, man, we had meetings forever. We had daily classes
Mm-hmm.
forever, it seemed like. And so that was the biggest thing for me was uh just being around um like-minded people and other guys who are like kind of been where I've been and now having some success. And then there's some guys who are I got to actually talk with guys who are just getting started and
Mm-hmm.
encouraging them.
It's funny
So
you learn more by teaching.
agreed.
Yeah.
100% agreed.
So
100%.
before we got started, you were what, 500, 600, $800,000 contractor?
I was about a $600,000 contractor, and in this last year, I lost out on a couple jobs that I thought I really really had, and I
Sure.
was I was really gunning to be the $2 million guy this year. We didn't hit it. We didn't hit it. Um, so we clipped out at just over $1 million this year.
Okay. So
Okay.
you still almost doubled the company. Boo-hoo.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But what's really cool is, we did change our pricing structure a
Right.
lot. So, our
Profitability. What's the difference there? Probably six
I real
X.
yeah, probably. I need to really go back and look at our P&L again here. We're getting
I
to
know your
the end of the
numbers.
year.
When you got started with me, you were at 28% gross, and now you're selling at 40.
Yeah, we sell at 40 all the time.
Yeah.
I've turned down jobs if I don't hit that 40 mark.
So we doubled the company and we added 50% more profitability. So yeah, that's probably a 3x. Actually, no. Yeah, double and probably between 3 and 4. I bet if we really pull up those numbers, 3 and 4x growth in your net profit.
Yeah, I'm not the
Come
poster boy
on.
for knowing your numbers. I
Come
need to
on,
I need to do a
stop.
better job at that part. But but I mean, And again, when you're in it day to day, every now and then you need to take a step back and really look at stuff and see and appreciate where you appreciate and be grateful from where you started and where you're at now.
Yeah.
Because you're slogging in the trenches every day,
Mm-hmm.
and it can wear you out.
Yep.
But when you really take a step back, holy cow! I mean, the success there. I mean, we're a successful contractor, Lane. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. I don't care what anybody else says.
Yeah.
We're a successful contractor. You
Yep.
know, I don't care if we're the biggest. I don't care if we're, man, I'm providing for the guys that work for us,
Yep.
whether they be directly employed or subcontractors. You know, we're providing for we're doing a really cool service for the folks we build for.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, you can't beat that.
And you're wildly profitable
Probably, yeah.
for your family. Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I think 2025 is going to be interesting for you with all those irons you have in the fire, especially with that timber frame. Just one of those houses you're going to repeat last year, and then on top of that, Mr. Jacob just opened up a business unit that's doing another on pace to do another million that you don't even have to pay attention to.
yeah. That's our
So
goal for the handyman is 1 million this year. That's
yeah,
our goal.
so it sounds to me, John, like if you screw up, you're going to double the company again, and
Yeah,
if you put your ass into it, we could triple the company in 2025.
we really could do that. I mean, we really could. It's not impossible.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So,
Yes,
John,
sir.
what advice do you have for the the 300 to $600,000 contractor who's barely making ends meet, who's just going from dumpster fire to dumpster fire and paycheck to paycheck,
Well, I've been there.
or deposit to deposit, I should say.
Deposit to deposit. Yeah, I've
Right.
been there. And I will tell you that nothing is linear. So, don't expect to don't expect to flip the switch and just like turn on the rocket ship because you're gonna get going and you're gonna have some starts and stops and things are always gonna trip you up. Um, so first of all, you got to get your mindset right. Secondly, get some help somewhere. Uh, there's so many. I mean, get some help somewhere. Become part of Remodel Commander if you
Oh,
want
come on,
to.
stop.
No, I mean, but really, honestly, man, get into your books.
Yeah.
Hire a bookkeeper, please,
Yeah.
a really good one, and then an accountant. Have somebody help you with those numbers, and then have somebody actually and help you interpret those numbers. Because if you don't know what the numbers mean,
Yep.
okay. Um,
So once you got
so
your numbers down,
yep,
and you realize that oh, this is where I'm screwing up. Yeah,
yep,
most guys that like they intuitively know they need to raise prices, but they don't because they're afraid because
they're afraid.
their word of
Yeah,
mouth doesn't won't pay those prices. So
right,
what do you say to
absolutely.
that? What do you say to that guy?
Been there, done that too. Uh, Turn them up, raise them, and tell me it doesn't work.
Right.
You will lose some business,
You will.
undoubtedly, but those probably are not your ideal customer. You might need to back up a minute and figure out who your ideal customer is too.
Sure.
So you're going to lose some people. I just lost a job when we were in Phoenix.
Oh,
Um,
John, yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. They did not want to pay what we were going to charge to do. Cool. You'll find somebody that'll pay that. It's not going to be me. I'm not doing it.
No.
So be of the mindset that you've got to know what your time and you got to know what kind of value you bring to these homeowners.
Yep.
And it can't be quality.
No. No.
Okay.
Because that's what
It
everybody
can't be
expects.
because that's the bare minimum anymore. There's
So
so many guys out there that can do really good work. Those guys need to come work for you.
So,
So,
so John, for a guy that realizes that he's pricing too cheap, He's
Yeah.
going to raise his prices.
Yep.
He's going to lose business
Yep.
for that guy.
Yep.
That's in like, okay, well, I don't have the money to spend on marketing, and
Yep.
I'm really busy right now. How
Yep.
is he going to replace those customers he lost?
That's a good question too. Oh man. So, uh, hmm.
This is John's
I don't,
final exam for Remodel Commander, by the way. No, I'm
yeah, I
kidding.
guess. Fail. Fail. Okay,
No,
so
stop.
I've been there again. I should know this right off the top of my head because the same thing, happened to us. Um, you,
Well,
man,
things
you got to
started turning
firstly.
around for you when you started finally taking, an hour or two a week to go meet with a realtor or a designer.
That's what I was going to say. You got to develop those relationships. This whole business is about relationships, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about relationships and who you know. So you need to be meeting those realtors right now,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like right now.
Yep.
You need to join your home builders association and get active with it right now. You need to meet some designers and
Yep.
show, even if you don't run the design SOP, go meet these designers, please. Um, show
John,
them what you,
do you dress differently when you're meeting with realtors versus designers versus homeowners?
I mean, you know, not a whole lot. I mean,
Right.
I don't, I'm not 100% in the field anymore,
Right. Right.
but um, I'm gonna be, I'm not wearing the t-shirt, you
No.
know. You're
So
gonna look presentable. You're gonna look presentable.
get a button down or a polo, leave that in the
Yep.
truck. When you come off the job site, give yourself a
Yeah,
bird bath, throw on the polo, go have coffee.
exactly. Yeah, keep some wet wipes in the truck, stick a deodorant and a clean pair of boots, clean pair of shoes.
Right.
Um, yeah, you want to look presentable. Yeah, don't
Brush
come
your
rolling in
teeth.
and exactly. Yeah, take a shower, even though
Spray a little cologne.
something. Yeah,
Something.
but
Yeah.
yeah, look presentable, please. Look
Yeah.
presentable.
In,
But
in a lot of contractors I've met in those situation, like they're so down on themselves because of the hole they're in that it
hmm,
affects how they communicate with these realtors and designers. And then those realtors and designers can pick up on that vibe because 80% of communication is nonverbal. And they're like,
sure,
oh, this guy, this guy's in trouble. I don't want to be, I feel for him, but I don't want to be associated with that.
right.
And then that contractor then doesn't get a referral. And then that reinforces his belief that he wasted his time and that nothing's ever going to change. Like, how did you break that cycle?
Yeah, so you described my life. Um, yeah, so at some point you just got to develop the confidence that it's a mindset shift. Okay, it really truly is. You could say mind shift.
Yeah.
Um,
We got to flush that right out of your system.
exactly, exactly. So, first of all, quit taking it so dang personal.
Mhm.
It's not about you, okay? It's purely business. You might be completely skilled at what you can do. But when you come off as desperate, it everybody knows it.
Yeah, we can
Um,
feel it.
it's you can feel it. You can feel it. So you do have to just develop some confidence that, hey, you've got something to offer that will benefit this person.
Yeah. Yeah.
End of story. If they choose not to use you, that is fine. So you got to develop some tough skin there.
Yep.
Um, and believe me, it stings.
It
Sometimes it
does.
really stings,
It
but
does.
they're not going to take your birthday from you. So just,
No.
go do it again.
No. And like when I was in those shoes too about 8 years ago, um,
Yeah.
what I had to have two conversations with myself daily. And at the end of the day, I needed to ask myself what went right.
Hmm.
That way I started orienting on, instead of the negative, what are the things we're doing well to, what were our wins for the day? I don't care
Absolutely.
how small. It's
Right.
so, so important that that's your focus.
I
Yeah.
agree.
as contractors, it's like all we do all day is just solve problems. It's like, okay, well, let's look at what do we do well. And then the second conversation I'd have is like literally in the truck before meeting that designer, I would look at and be like, okay, these are the things I can do for them that they need, and just remind
Yeah,
myself of that, and then go have the
right,
meeting.
right. Don't oversell yourself either. Like
No,
don't promise stuff that you can't do or have no intention, especially have no intentions of doing.
oh, that's so
Don't do
bad,
that, please.
so bad.
Don't do that. Um, but yeah, just know that getting started is the toughest part.
Yeah,
Um, and you got to have some grit and persistence, and just keep pushing the stone. The stone will move eventually when it's time for the stone to move.
that's right.
But I also understand the idea of like, hey, we got to generate some income and income now.
Right now.
So it's all a relationship thing.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the lumber yard, talk to the sales guy,
Right,
uh, go speak at a realtor breakfast
right.
or luncheon. Um,
John, I got
Go
one
to the
for
home
you.
shows. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
the home shows. Like I got here's something that we can have Mr. Jacob do.
Yep.
So Peter realized he wasn't going to meet revenue quota for December, and he realized that before Thanksgiving, or like
Okay.
before even Veterans Day. The reason why
Okay.
he wasn't in Phoenix with us is because he had to go to an HB Home Builders Association event. And what Peter did, he told me about this after the fact, so I take no credit for this. But Peter was listening for GCs talking about how behind schedule they were, and then offering to either, you have a sub, not show up, call me. You have punch list you can't get to, call me. You have warranty
Yep.
work slowing shit down, call me. And he set up, like, the kid pulled 55 G's worth of work from a single meeting. It's
That's
like,
amazing.
isn't that
That's
wild?
good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. On my way back from East Tennessee yesterday, I was riding with a guy that used to do work for me years and years ago, and he's much older than me. And he does his own bathroom and kitchen, mostly bathroom remodeling right now.
Sure.
And I told him if he ever gets in a pinch, if he's got more than he can handle, give me a
Right.
holler. We Jacob's guys through
Yeah,
LBL can come over and bail him out. So
that's right.
who knows?
Yeah. Peter was so smart too. He, by going to those GCs just like that, he was like, "Listen, I'll fall in on that subs, contract." So
Right.
it's just like, it,
Yeah.
it's no, it doesn't cost the GC anything. He was going to spend that money anyway.
Right. No, I
Yeah,
get it. Yeah. Um,
that's brilliant. What you guys pulled off too. Like, it's just, there's so many ways to find fast cash. It all begins like what you were saying earlier. Push the fucking stone.
yeah, you just keep pushing. You'll find it eventually. I mean, that sounds so trite, and I don't mean for it to sound trite at all, because I know how difficult it can be when you've
Right.
got to scrounge up some cash quick. I know how difficult it can be, but I'm here to tell you that it's out there. It really is. The work is out there. The uh the kind of business that you want is out there. You just have to develop it. And it's you know, none of us got in this business. Well, very few of us got in this business with any business skill at all. We're craftsmen, tradesmen, um, and decided to make the switch.
Yeah.
And so it's not your craftsmanship that sucks. It's your business skills that need some help.
Sure.
So, uh, so go get the help, man. Just go
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. So for that guy that needs to replace the customers that are inevitably going to quit when he raises prices, it's like, do you eat lunch every day? Great. Use that hour to go eat lunch with a realtor or another GC, and
Exactly.
and focus on all the things you can do to improve their business.
Right. Yep. The very first, gosh, how long ago was this now? It was during the pandemic.
Sure.
I quoted a massive kitchen. For me, it was massive. It was a $50,000 kitchen job, which in Western Kentucky, that's a pretty good kitchen job. But I was working by myself at the time. So I was going to do everything minus the electric, plumbing. and drywall.
Hmm.
I was going to do it all. And well, man, I worked up this beautiful quote, beautiful proposal, all this good stuff, and they're like, "Man, that's just way too high. That's just way too high. There's just no way." And I went home and I was like a whoop puppy. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And then I was like, "You know what? No. I I'm not gonna I can't do it for you." And so I called them up. And I was like, "Boy, I really want to work for you guys. Um, but my price is my price." And it got uncomfortably quiet on the phone. And he said, "Well, okay then." And I said, "Well, okay then." I said,
Well,
"Wish you
okay then.
well."
Yeah.
And that was kind of like when I decided this is the route we have to start taking, folks. This is just, you know, uh, um, so just do it.
Yeah.
The right customers you'll find that you do need to figure out who your ideal customer is. Don't wait for your ideal customer to show up.
Yeah.
Identify them
Yeah.
and then go get them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Hint, they have money and they value experience and speed over price.
correct, correct, correct. Yes.
Oh, John, I really appreciate you spending, oh my gosh, an hour with us, man. Like,
Oh man,
this
that
was,
flew.
yeah, for the guys listening, I think you're going to help a lot of people with the wisdom you shared today, sir.
Well, it's all learned, nothing developed by me. So I appreciate your mentorship a lot. Um, I've got to work with some really, really cool guys, both in and outside of RC over the years. And, it's a relationship business all
Yep.
the way down, all the way to up and down the chain. So, you know, um, I thank you for having me on. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
All right, man. Well, for the guys listening, if you want the realtor script that John uses, or yeah, especially used when he was getting out of his hole, just comment below in the and I'll send you we'll send you that script. So, guys,
Cool.
we'll see you next time.
Absolutely.